Hey everyone, we're back.
Welcome to another episode of SLP's Wine and Cheese. I'm Maria,
I'm Deb
and here's our podcast.
for the Realistic SLP.
Yes, that's who we are.
Welcome everybody. Thanks for
Yay.
joining us.
So, today we have a lovely wine. I'm going to get right into it. It's a Pinot Noir, which Deb and I were saying is pretty much like a classic go-to wine, right? Like you
Right.
can't go wrong.
Exactly. So if you're out and you're thinking like I need to order for the table, go Pinot Noir.
Yeah, or yourself. I don't know. By the
Right.
glass. Just
Right,
saying.
yeah, if you're getting it for yourself too. But I feel like the pressure is on when there's a group. You're like, am I going to make a choice that the collective
Right.
will enjoy? You know,
Good
because you
point.
want to like take into consideration other people's preferences.
Right. Well, then
You
you
know,
go with like you want
Keeping
red,
it social.
right? You want red or white, and then if you want a classic red, I would suggest a Pinot Noir, and I think Deb would agree.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what we're drinking. You know, it's a 2017 Pinot Noir, and it's a Dupont. Okay, so it's spelled DEUXPUNX. So that I feel like that's French, and I know you're not supposed to pronounce the X,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm
But
trying.
how would you pronounce an X?
Dukes Punks, right? Like a K and S phonetically.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm gonna drop that final consonant deletion here and do
Mhm.
Dupont, which I don't know if that's French or trying to be French.
Right.
That's me trying to be French and fancy.
Well, I think you're doing well. Do it with a French accent now.
If you want, okay, I almost did like a British one, but I just parlez-vous français?
There you
Is it
go.
Croissant?
Dupont.
Yeah, I can't. I'm gonna butcher their language, and I don't want to do
Croissant?
that. A croissant. Si. Oui. Excuse me. Okay, so it's produced and bottled by Dupont's Wines, and they are in Napa, California.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this wine has a pretty even body taste, not overly acidic. And we paired it with this is officially my favorite cheese. This
Oh
cheese.
boy.
I know. This is a moment.
Thrilling.
This is a moment. I even offered some of this cheese to Mike and his brother,
Mhm.
Steve, who I've never met before.
Did you think Mike and Steve looked alike?
No.
They
Do
have
you?
the same face shape and eyeballs. Like they have these like round faces, and they both
Oh,
have these like
yeah.
high cheeks and big round eyes.
Oh, right. I
Brown
did
eyes,
only
yeah.
meet him for like 2.5 seconds. And I
Yeah.
was like, hey, I'm Maria. Nice to meet you. Do you want some cheese?
Oh, that's a nice way to greet someone.
Well, I
think.
did address that awkwardness. And I was like, I
Mhm.
know that's so weird. He's like, no, it's cool for me. He's like, that's the
Right.
best thing. And I was like,
I mean,
like
he's
this guy.
Italian.
That I'm Greek, same thing.
Yeah.
So right, we're all about the food. Life revolves
Exactly.
around food. Anyway, so this cheese, speaking of wine, is from Vermont, and it's called a Plymouth black truffle. Excuse me. It's an artisanal cheese, and it has like that truffle flavor. Do you taste that?
I do taste the truffle.
Are you saying the
I
truth?
taste the magic. No, I am saying the truth.
Okay.
I do feel like whenever I'm in a restaurant and there's truffle fries, everyone's like, "Let's get the truffle fries."
Yes, I'm one
And
of those people.
I'm just like, these are fries. But I'll take them because I do enjoy a French fry.
yeah.
But I do also. There's also truffle mac and cheese.
Yes. Oh my
I
goodness.
just feel like when you order a margarita
Mhm.
and they're like, "Do you want Patron?" I'm like, "No," because after you put all that stuff in it, it all tastes the same. So when you're like
Okay.
making macaroni and cheese and you're adding a bunch of ingredients, it's like the truffle kind of gets diluted, and also like French fries are just like potatoes heavily fried. Maybe they're crispier, but I just think like when you like do too much manipulation of something, it's like you kind of lose out on the quality of that ingredient.
I'm gonna have to beg to differ.
All right.
That's all I have to say
So
to that.
you like Patron margaritas?
I actually don't know if I've had with Patron, but definitely you feel it the next day once you're over 30 when you've had like the bottom shelf versus the top shelf.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the drink rail.
Right.
I'm talking about like mid shelf.
Right.
I don't
okay.
need Patron. I'll take like a Milagro or something like on the middle, or I'll take Absolute instead of Grey
Okay.
Goose or something.
I thought those are kind of even though.
No.
They're not.
No.
Okay. All right. So then I would taste a difference. Sometimes I feel like it's more watery if the alcohol's not that good. But we'll stick with wine for now.
Yeah.
But we'll stick with cheese. Actually, what we know more about.
Yeah.
But cheese for sure, I could taste like truffle. I even got truffle olive oil. Like
That
all I
definitely
need is a
tastes
dot.
truffly.
Truffly, yeah, 'cause this is like full blown a block of cheese of it.
Because
Because
it's like a thicker, heavier taste. I feel
yes,
like. Yeah.
it's so good and it smells interesting, but I like it.
Yeah. Because it's mushrooms.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know what that. I didn't know
Yeah,
what
truffles
that was.
are mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
Might have
Fact
to
check.
fact check that.
Yeah, fact
Okay,
check
I'll have to
us.
fact check
us.
that. So definitely, in conclusion, drink the wine.
And eat the cheese.
Yes.
We vote drink it.
Drink it and eat it.
Cheers.
Clink. I'm gonna drink this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that was a real sip. Of grape
Anywho,
juice.
so we're talking about keeping it social. And this is Keeping It Social Part 2.
yeah, I'm gonna follow up with some water.
That's good.
because-
So, we are going to first talk about, though, we're going to get into our segment, This Week in Life, This Week in Speech. And
Yeah.
while Maria's drinking water, I will
Yes.
talk about This Week in Life for me.
Yes.
I've been teaching college, both undergrad and grad. It's going well. I'm liking it. It's taking up more of my time, so I feel like I've been quite busy and I've had a lot on my brain, but it's going well.
I like that you're saying busy and a lot on my brain and not saying like stressed.
No, I don't feel stressed.
Okay.
I do feel like at some points my motor coordination is off. Like I have knocked over so many things with my elbows and stuff. And I think it's just because I'm just so like up in space and I'm thinking about so many things that like
You
not
need to
paying
be-
attention to what I'm doing in the current
You
moment.
need to be grounded.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
in terms of functionality, I'm doing well. I'm going
Right.
to
Your productivity.
Yes, yeah, I'm nailing it.
Good.
I think that the takeaway from this is that when you add things to your plate, before getting super overwhelmed, you should just ask for help. And I have, and I hired 2 people to help me in different ways, and I just feel good.
Good. That's
Yeah.
how you know you did the right decision.
Right.
You did the right decision.
Yeah, I
you know?
did the right decision.
Right. You did the right thing.
See, that's the beauty about being a speech pathologist. I have no problem with you saying to me, I did the right decision. I'm not so worried about like grammar and syntax because like I understand your point.
Right. I was though. Like,
But
oh, I
I
am
know.
a speech and I said that.
But who
I
cares?
know
mean,
that was
but you're
wrong.
not. Yeah, like I don't like when people are so fixated on like grammar and
Mhm.
like perfection.
What
I think
about
it's
people who
annoying.
text inaccurately?
I don't care. I text
Really?
everything wrong. I don't even know how people text me. Everything I say is wrong.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. That's fine
Gotcha.
as long as I understand what you're saying, or I'm just like, what? I mean, but then
Right.
you're giving me the opportunity to find a very funny GIF or GIF, whatever you want to say. So it's like, the world just keeps moving.
Good point.
Going
Good
like
point.
on a tangent. You know how I always talk about how I
Right.
like moved around a bunch as a kid?
Yes. I feel like that's like
So-
the first thing you said to me when I met you.
Probably,
Similar
yeah.
to how I told Steve, hey, you want some cheese? Like, I hope he'll remember me now as that cheese girl.
Right. So then
Yeah.
I'm the girl who moved around a lot. And I
Yes.
think what that taught me was that
It's
like
your opening line.
when I was younger, I used to like feel sad about it a little bit, but like life goes on without you being there. So I used to be
Mhm.
like going back because whenever I left somewhere, I had family that stayed there. So like my dad lived in Delaware, my
Mm.
mom lived in Jersey, my grandma lived in Staten Island, and I moved around to these people and they stayed where they were and my sister and I just moved. So I would go back to these same places to visit. And it was hard to see that life went on without me there. Like, they still went to school, they still went to parties, they still went to games, they still hung out, they had lives that existed without me.
Right.
So, I think that taught me that just, like, nothing really matters. Like, life is just going to keep going on.
Right. So, like, my grammar is not, like, a big deal.
Yeah, no, it's just
because-
like, yeah.
Right.
Everything's going to keep going on.
You're so right.
yeah.
All right. I'm gonna not apologize for saying things like you made the right decision. Although that was correct now.
Yeah,
See?
I don't know what you said, but it's fine.
Yeah, I don't even know either. I forgot. Anyway.
But then other than that, in my life, my friend Mandy came to visit this weekend.
Oh,
It was so
nice.
fun.
know
She and I have been like best friends since 8th grade.
I remember
um,
you told me about her and stuff.
Yeah.
Is she a Cancer too? Horoscope
June
sign?
8th.
No,
So no.
Gemini.
But she's a doctor now, so it's always fun hanging. We talked a whole bunch. My soap notes, I've changed them completely after talking to Mandy. I'm excited
Wow.
to teach a class about soap notes again. So also, it's so good to hang out with people that like have known you for so long. And also, like, Mandy's so much like me. Like, she's so loud. We're both super loud. We both talk excessively. We like the same music. We're, like, always nonstop. Like, we're both road runners. So it's just nice to, like, be around someone who's just like you. It just, like, makes you feel like, oh, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
And then I'm, like, making summer plans.
Oh.
And I've been taking care of dogs. That's my life.
All right. Wait, what are your summer plans?
Well, I've been thinking about like summer work. I think I might go back to the nursing home because I got asked to go back, which I don't have time to go back right now, but in the summer I might. And I'm going to do some work with, I don't know, last year I feel like we did an episode where I talked about what I was going to do and it was completely wrong. But
Right,
of April, I'm going to work with medically fragile babies this summer, which is exciting. But then my week, and I'm going to Florida next week, so that's exciting. Yeah.
I know.
And then this week in speech, we've been doing, if anyone needs an idea for speech that's so entertaining and time consuming, it'll be 2 sessions long.
You got me at entertaining and then lost me at time consuming.
Like time consuming in that it will take up 2 sessions and it will occupy your students significantly.
You got me back.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Go to Story Pirates podcast and look for the episode about the girl who turned into spaghetti.
Oh, okay.
And basically it's a podcast about they like reenact children's stories, and this story in particular is about a girl who loves spaghetti so much that she turned into spaghetti. So we listen to it in speech, and then I have like a graphic organizer that they fill in, and they're like, once there was a blank named blank who loved to eat blank. Blank ate blank for breakfast, she ate blank for lunch and dinner, she even ate blank for dessert. So it's like that's the story, and they create a character and a food that they loved, and then they have to create a person who warns them against eating it so much, and then they don't listen. And then one day they feel sick and they take a nap, and then they wake up and they have turned into that food.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, it's very funny, and it's so fun. So I did the girl who turned into a pickle.
I was going to say, you're a pickle.
Yeah, and then it's funny also to see how the children end the stories, whether or not they turn back into a child, or if they stay the food and they're happy, or they stay the food and they get eaten.
Oh, wow.
So this is like great for targeting telling stories with a distinct beginning, middle, and end. It's also great for like creating characters, and also like syntactically correct sentences and things and then we draw pictures to illustrate the story. That's the second or even third session. So this will take a while. It'll occupy you it could occupy you for a month if you really like wanted it to, but
yeah.
I really try to get the kids moving with it.
Wow.
We've also, so it's state testing in New York right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes,
my
yes,
floor
it
has
is.
the older kids in my elementary school, so we have to be pretty quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been drawing cartoons. I have like a drawing book, and then I just put a bunch of faces on a page, just blank faces, and then thought and speech bubbles. And the kids have to create different expressions and then write what they're saying or thinking.
That's also taps into social skills,
Right.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to a professional development, and they talked about the efficacy of using, like, comic strips because they're similar to the social stories, that they're visual, but they're, like, child-friendly. And then the thought bubble is great to work on, like, inferencing, like, oh, what is he thinking about? And then, like, the talking.
Right.
That sounded so New York. The talking.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter, right? So the
No,
talking
the talking.
bubble
Yeah.
is like, oh, this is what they're saying, but they're thinking this, or
Right.
like, is what they're thinking matching what they're saying?
And
like,
the facial expression too. So I had like different examples of people like yawning, smiling big, smiling small, frowning, surprised face. eyes opened, eyes closed. So like
Nice.
if they were inspired to
Yeah.
copy a face of somebody who looked tired, then I would expect their speech bubble to be corresponding with that
Right. Yeah.
facial expression.
And they could be thinking like, I stayed up too late watching cartoons. Like,
Right.
oh, and that could go into like, why is someone tired? Why should we not stay up past our bedtime
Exactly.
watching cartoons? Which I mean this for myself too. I've been
Yeah,
trying to
just
go to
say
bed
you
earlier.
stay up late watching cartoons.
No, but like on my phone or just
Yeah.
Googling stuff.
I
and-
did just start watching
Yeah.
Muppet Babies again.
Really?
Yeah, 'cause I got YouTube TV, and
Oh,
it doesn't
okay.
have like all the channels, so it's not like you have a ton to choose from. And then I
Great.
saw Muppet Babies, and I thought it was like old Muppet Babies, so I got excited. But it was new Muppet Babies, still good,
Okay.
guys. It's
Great.
yeah,
So
watch
your life
Muppet
is
Babies.
Muppet Babies, comics, pickles,
and speak. Yeah.
and I'm glad you saw your best friend. Honestly, Mandy.
Oh
so
yeah,
that's
that
good.
was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had fun.
Good. Great. I want to meet her.
Yes.
Anyway, I should just show up at her birthday party.
Yeah, you should.
Yes.
Just come to all my friends' birthday
Right.
parties.
Yes. Why not?
Well, it's hard because last year I went to her birthday party instead of yours.
Yes.
So you guys like kind of put your birthday parties along.
Right.
the same
I
time.
celebrated mine a little earlier because I was going to be in Greece for my
Right.
actual one, so that's why.
Mm-hmm.
But yes. So my life, what's going on there? Okay. So my life has been good this week in my life. So I downloaded the Calm app. I got the free trial.
I forgot.
Yes, the Calm app is very calming, no pun intended. So when you open it, you have to take a deep breath. And there's like, some
Hello.
background music.
You are in nature.
Yes, and then there's a beautiful
Everything
little background.
is gonna be okay.
You're right.
Stop panicking. I
Right.
wasn't done.
Oh, okay. Are
no,
you?
it's fine.
Oh, okay. I can go back to it.
Yeah, let's hear your
Okay.
mindful meditation.
Well, my mindful meditation,
mm-hmm.
like what I say, or you want to hear
No,
it right
like
now?
with the background noise.
Oh, okay. Well, let me get into it first. That every day is a new one, and which I liked yesterday's was about because it was April Fool's, so it was
Mhm.
about humor and that.
Oh, I forgot to talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'll talk about it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was doing that in speech and in my life too,
Good.
playing pranks on people, which is a lot of fun. And like I think because I do the meditation app in the beginning, the Calm app in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does set like a precedent for the day. And it's like, all right, today's April Fool's. And pretty much the meditation has like
So
the
basically,
soothing-
that meditation just narked on everyone who was trying to have a good time. So you were just like speculative of any person that told you anything because that app reminded you it's like the day
well, if
to
anything,
be fooled.
yeah, pretty much.
It
So
just-
I was
it
on my A game fooling everyone. And nobody got to me. That one person came in and was like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, wait, is this April Fool's joke? I was like, I wasn't even like,
Mhm.
yay. Everybody else was like, yay. And I'm like, wait, hold up. She's like, no, it's real. It's really real. I'm like, are you sure? Because it's April 1st. And she was like,
Right.
no, it's real. So, yes, I'm excited for her.
One of the like worst things that ever happened to me happened like I told someone about it on April 1st and didn't realize, and they like laughed at me and I was like crying. And
Oh.
they were like, "Oh no!" It was
It's
like,
like, you will not get me.
it was so. But like in retrospect, that was quite funny.
Right.
Like that's true comedy.
Good. Go right. Exactly. So anyway, the app, I want to get back to the realness of it. The Calm app is just, it sets the precedence of the day. So it doesn't, so it just so happened that April 1st was humor. Like today was about work stress, which I was like, okay, this is great. So it was saying how it may sound counterintuitive to just slow down and take a minute to just stop everything and like take some deep breaths, but it actually will show that you are more productive because you'll be less frazzled, aka not knocking things over with your elbows. I'm just kidding.
Right.
Just kidding.
Well,
I don't mean to like throw that in your, I was just joking. Like,
Yeah.
I hope that wasn't offensive.
but I mean, like, I felt like I was relating to what you were saying because whenever I feel stressed, I'm like, no, stop.
right.
Let me turn around. So, like,
Yeah, that's good.
but I have been knocking everything over.
Right.
I don't know why I've been doing that, but
I don't know. Maybe
like,
I should get you a meditation.
I don't know.
little
Maybe I
thing.
have a tumor.
Wait, no, what? This is just I'm going to talk about the Calm app because I feel like you're not ready to like get calm with me right now. So like, let
I'm
me just talk about it.
calm.
So when you download it, it's a free trial for a week. So I definitely recommend it. You have nothing to lose. There's a daily meditation every day, and it sets you up for a nice day. I think if you want to even do it in the morning, you don't have to. Third thing, today's was work stress, and they gave this good tip that I have to do that you should, actually, I'm going to save it for my tips and tricks. I'm going to save it. Yeah, that's gotta, right. So you're going to have to keep listening on in to the episode to hear this good trick that I got.
I'm excited.
Yes, good. So, that's that. And then I also like that the app, when you download it, they ask you, like, what your goals are. So it's like, better sleep, less anxiety. I forgot what my goals are, to be honest. But it will give you apps and music too, to pair with your goals, like what your goals are for your emotional well-being. So I like that. I thought that was good.
Good.
Yeah, and there's different tunes you could listen to, like music. There's like different sleep stories to go to sleep. And the guy from Game of Thrones is on there. Matthew
boy.
McConaughey is on here talking about stuff.
Oh, now it's
Yeah,
sold.
yeah, I know, right? if that didn't hook you, there's a Little Mermaid.
I was like, that looks like the Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
So I just think it's so funny.
gratitude.
Like, if there was a movie about us and like the opening scene was introducing us as characters, they'd probably show like the two of us driving on our way to work. And like on our way to work, I'd probably be listening to like Led Zeppelin.
I was
and
gonna say
I'm, like,
rock
singing
music.
and rocking. And
Yeah.
then like on your way, it's like, breathe in.
That's what I do.
Breathe out.
Yes.
Breathe
Yeah.
in. Inhale success.
Exhale
doubt.
Oh, what? We did not plan that, people.
Like that's how like
Yeah.
the writers would set the scene to like for
Yeah.
our character development.
I like it. I feel like it's being true to the story.
Right.
So good job, writers.
that would be our story.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
Mike can write that for us. Alright.
Good luck. I've been
Yeah.
trying to hire him to write me stories for a year, and it's so annoying. It's hard to
Okay.
work with comedians
Okay.
or just my comedian. I don't
Or just Mike. No, I'm just kidding.
know.
Just kidding. Love Mike. Not being negative about Mike. So I also was in Chicago this weekend, and that was a great time. I did
Exciting.
an architecture tour, and I learned about like the architecture. And there was the big Chicago fire, which I like that the museums and just like the different parts of Chicago were saying how like that the fire was obviously devastating, but it gave them a chance to rebuild their whole city,
Mhm.
and then it really led to like modernism, modern architecture, and then it like
Right.
went into there, and then like fast forward to today, where I went to the Willis Tower, formerly known as the Sears Tower, which is like the highest
Right.
skyscraper or structure in North America. So I went to the top of that. I was so nervous, and I looked down, and it was glass. Oh.
We
Yeah,
have been chatting.
Speaking of being nervous, timers can make us nervous. So you just
I'm not nervous.
right. On that note, just hold on for a word by our sponsors.
This episode of SLP's Wine and Cheese is brought to you by SpeechTherapyPD.com. It's a 100% SLP-owned website that specializes in practical, engaging, evidence-based video and audio courses. There's more than 600 hours of courses available on demand.
Yes, there are weekly live and interactive courses and pod courses. They offer unlimited plans starting at $89 a year. And now you can get $10 off with the code WINE, WINE. So enter WINE at checkout.
And we're back.
Yes. So we got to talk about our week in life, and
Well,
I didn't
now
get
we-
to talk about speech, but I'll wrap it up. So I too was focusing on April Fools just 'cause it's fun,
Mm-hmm.
So I did like, guess what? There's no school tomorrow, and then they're like, what? And I'm like, April Fools.
Oh, that's mean.
Oh, come on.
That's rude. I would be. That's like you had.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on.
I mean, because I feel like the point of a joke is comic relief. So you have to like present to them a troublesome situation, and then your reveal has to be relieving. But you dangled the one thing that children dream about. and then you snatched it from their hopeful eyes.
I feel really bad now. But you really should have seen their faces, is my defense. And
maybe you are Slytherin. We've tried to have 2 Harry Potter episodes that have mysteriously been deleted from my computer twice. I don't know how, but they were very funny both times. And
it must not be meant to be. I don't
guess
even
not.
know what the point of that is. But maybe we'll have to research it more and then do the episode.
The first
if
one was
has
great.
ideas
I feel
of
sad
Harry,
about that.
Yeah, maybe we have
I
to
missed
just,
that episode. I
maybe-
wish it was not gone.
I think we have to find that SLP who made that quiz and ask her to
Oh, that was
custom
not
make
a
one for us.
SLP.
It wasn't.
No, that
Why
was
did I
somebody
think
who
it
was. She was just polling everybody.
All
There's
right.
so many different
We're gonna-
tests on the internet.
Maybe we'll just find a better one then.
Mhm.
There has to be a reason why we keep mysteriously losing these
I
episodes.
don't know.
All right, so I felt terrible, but really it was actually very funny, and the kids found it funny, and it was a great segue into jokes and April Fools and tricks.
Mhm.
And what is a trick? And then I segued into homophones and homonyms, and those are words that may trick us. And then I used a lot of your coloring sheets. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And then I first labeled them, and then I with your coloring sheets I boxed them off so they could have male and then male together visually.
Right. Sometimes I cut up because
you cut it,
usually
right.
it's PDFs, right? Or I gave you physical books, but you can take photocopies.
I do.
But I cut up all of my pages all the time
Okay.
and glue those places. I'll make them in sentences, or I'll put them in sorting.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
The
you
voice
can
cracks.
somebody
Sorry.
cut up my butterfly paper, and they had the black and white version, and they cut up the color version, and then they pieced it back together like a puzzle.
Oh, I like that.
I
love
was
puzzles.
amazed. I was like, "You're a genius. Who thought? How did you think of this?"
Wow.
Yeah,
You were blown away.
I was blown away by
No
somebody
pun
else's.
intended.
Yeah,
Yes, so
I don't know if you understand puns.
well, vice. I know.
Puns are
I know.
You're supposed to use a homophone.
I
in a
know.
pun.
I was. That was a far-reaching one because the butterflies. Maybe I could have said you got carried away, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone at
Right.
Asha, Jessica, she's on our interview, said I'm very punny. Just bringing it back.
You're punny,
Yeah, she said I'm punny.
but she didn't say you're funny.
No, she didn't. I'll admit, she didn't say that. She said punny. That's what a proper interviewer.
We better get into
Yeah,
what
we
we're
should
supposed
really-
to talk about.
yeah, we
We've
should.
been talking for 27 minutes about nothing.
This is going to have to be a 3-part episode. So let's get back on task. So continue to talk about social stories. Yes. This is a 2-part episode. I'm going to keep going there.
Yes.
Show must go on. This is a 2-part episode. So like we said in the previous episode, or episode 1 of Keeping It Social, social stories are a concept thought of by Carol Gray in 1991, and the goal was to increase social skills of individuals with autism spectrum disorder. So the purpose or the goal is to teach and model a particular social skill. So we are going to go over some of them. Before we do that, Deb wants to talk about social intelligence.
And we touched upon this in the last episode
Yes.
about social skills. So basically, as human beings, you have some expectations that you should be presenting with. So a couple of those are primal empathy, so sensing other people's feelings, attunement, listening with full receptivity, so being receptive, empathetic accuracy, understanding thoughts and intentions of other people, social cognition, understanding the social world and the working of the web of relationships, social facility, knowing how to have smooth and effective interactions, also synchrony, interacting smoothly, self-presentation, knowing how to come across, influence, shaping the outcome of social interactions, and concern, caring about others' needs. So now this is definitely a self-actualized person that I just described, because I by no means fit the mold of all these perfect social intelligence standards. Things that I would like to work more on would be interacting smoothly and shaping the outcome of social interactions.
I like that goal for you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm going to offer the converse opinion or a different opinion. Is like, that's what makes you who you are, you know? Like, you are kind of like random or something. You might come out of nowhere with something, and it's funny and it's interesting and it makes you you. So what is like this box that we have to have clicked on? Like, you are receptive. I'm talking to you about, oh, this wine's good. You're not like, well, the sky is red, you know? Like,
Right.
you're
I'm
like,
not
yeah, it's
dismissive
good,
of
right?
you.
Yeah, so.
But I do feel like when I'm around famous people, I panic in those areas.
But so would everyone.
Well, I don't want to. I
Okay.
want to be like, I don't care what
Right.
movie or television show you are on. You are a human, as am I, and I would like to have no awkwardness. So,
I saw Al Sharpton, by the way, on the
Oh.
flight to Chicago. And
wow.
I don't know. Was that
That's
was that not
crazy.
receptive?
I mean, that's just like, that's a crazy guy. Yeah.
That's who I saw.
That's great.
He was. I was like,
Did
we
you
were
talk
like,
to him?
No, because he didn't look like he wanted to be disturbed. But I was like, is that him? And I was like, Al. And he didn't turn around or flinch.
What if it wasn't?
It was him because other people in the back were like, that was him, right? So.
Oh. I saw Elvis Duran at the airport once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like he's cool. I would like to meet him.
Yeah. I was like, hey, Elvis Duran. And he was like, nice to meet you. He was like still radio personality, even at the airport.
He would still. What am I saying? He would love our show. Just saying. Because every Friday they usually consume beverages, alcoholic beverages on their show.
Right.
And we're like,
What's that,
whoa.
Uncle Johnny?
Yeah, Uncle
Yeah.
Johnny.
I
Yes.
know a producer of that show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he has his own podcast, so there's no way he's interested in endorsing ours.
You know what? You got to put the good
No.
out in the universe. You know what I
know
heard there was
David
no.
Brody. Do you know who David Brody
Yeah.
is? Yeah, we're buddies.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen pictures of him. It's about as close as I got to.
Yeah,
David
but,
Brody, okay.
It doesn't matter. You know what I've learned? Like, you can know a lot of cool people, but like everyone's doing cool stuff, so it doesn't matter what you're doing.
Right, and I feel like everyone's kind of just looking out for themselves. And
Well,
I
no,
can't blame 'em for
I
that.
wouldn't say that about.
Oh, okay.
I won't. I'm just saying, like, everyone's got something. It's like when you go to LA, everyone's got a screenplay.
Right.
You know. So it's like everyone's got a podcast. I'm not gonna be like, guess what I've got.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah, I live in Brooklyn, and you wouldn't believe it, but I have a podcast.
Wow. Oh, that's the different alarm. That's for me to take my vitamin. That was alarming.
Maybe,
Literally.
Look,
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. Saved myself. So this episode is
I don't know what we're talking
it's
about.
taking a turn.
I'm like really hot.
Maybe this episode is taking a turn for the worse or for the better. And I think
Whatever
we're
it
going
is.
to just leave it
Yeah.
because this is who we are. So,
Exactly.
Anyway, so let's get into some social stories.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
because
I'm excited
Maria
too.
is introducing social stories to me. Social
Yeah.
stories are not things I have typically utilized in my speech therapy session. I've been approached by people being like, so and so is struggling to navigate this social situation, and then I have thought to myself, oh, we should utilize a social story.
Yes.
I've never found a social story that corresponded to like my need,
Right.
and I would like do my best to create one. But I would say that like social study stories are not my area of expertise.
Okay. And I think that's great that you're openly saying that.
Oh, 100%.
Good. And that is the first step to learning new things.
Yeah.
So saying
Admitting.
no, not admitting. Just self-realization,
Awareness,
and
yeah.
introspection,
Mhm.
which I feel like is one of the social things. You know, look at that. Give me some extra checks for that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Understanding the social world, right? Social cognition. That
Right. Or
maybe,
like
maybe I don't
self-awareness.
have that much cognition about this. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
I'm kidding. So that's the first step because that's what allows you to learn. So that's good. And number two, a good thing about social stories is that a lot of them are on there online, different websites, different platforms to get them, which is great. And then if you're finding that you can't find one that's exactly targeting what you want, you can make them. You know,
Right.
and that's where the fun starts, I think. You know,
So you love making social stories.
I wouldn't say love, but
Mhm.
I am familiar with, and I am not scared of the idea, and I'm very well versed in like, oh, let's make a social story.
That's
and, like, let's just
fantastic.
do it and let's just get it done and let's print it and laminate it and give it. Like, I don't like have this whole like idea like, oh my god, what should no, just I can do it and it's done. Like, so I'm
Okay.
confident in it, I guess. you
Okay,
could
good.
say.
So Maria's going. So we're gonna make
Oh,
social
God.
stories together. She's
Yeah.
just gonna tell me what to do, and I'm gonna draw it.
Yes.
That's just how.
So, right.
yeah.
So you want to pick the random yet common. So
So
a negative.
Maria made a
behaviors.
bunch of cards here about like things that might need to be targeted through the use of
Yes.
social stories. I'm gonna draw them and draw them out of a hat, and then she's going to explain how she would put that into a social story.
Right.
Okay.
And then I just want to make one more point clear that social stories don't have to always be like those typical negative behaviors or those inappropriate behaviors like biting, spitting, chewing. Of course, you could obviously use social stories. I have
Mm-hmm.
with those behaviors, but they really can be used with an array of behaviors, I guess you could say, because the goal is to teach a particular social skill, and that might vary from like client to client. So just wanted to say that. As a
Okay, so the
disclaimer.
first one is
Okay,
going
which
to be
one?
pushing and hitting.
Okay, well, yeah. Let's start with the basic ones that we could say,
Okay.
or like your direct ones. So you want social stories to be positive and model appropriate language and behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty much like, all right, they're doing this, like they're pushing their friends. And then you could ask yourself or the teacher, like this is like a group effort here. This is not like, here, do this. This is like, all right, what's going on with Johnny? Johnny's pushing everyone off the slide in gym. Like, oh, like who? Oh, it's everyone. Okay. Is it always during gym? Yeah. Or nope, just all the time.
Johnny
or-
wants to get on that slide.
Right. Okay. So we're trying to figure out why is this behavior happening, right? Is it like a sensory thing? Is it like a behavior? Is he motivated by the slide? And the
I think
other
he-
kids
yeah.
are just taking
I don't even
too-
know Johnny, and I think Johnny's motivated by that slide.
Right.
And I think he's like, you know what? You guys have taken long enough,
Right.
and now we need to get this moving because I need to go back down that slide.
Right. So working on waiting is important.
Mm-hmm.
Working on using our words is important. So you could set up the realistic expectations. Like when I'm outside, I have to share the playground with my friends, right? Where he's
Mhm.
not the only one on that slide. So we have to talk about what's happening. and
Can I
what if-
interject?
Yeah.
Because maybe I might want to start out by being like, slides are exciting to
Yeah.
validate those feelings.
Oh, okay. We're starting like in chronological order. Yeah. Okay. So page 1. Good.
Slides are
Let's,
so
uh,
exciting.
They are.
That you can go down and your stomach
Right.
goes woo.
Right. Yes.
Everyone loves the slide. But
Right. Right. Yeah, that's good because
Yeah.
then you're like also not validating their feelings, but you're putting like a label or an understanding to how they're feeling. Like, yeah, this is exciting. I'm excited. We're keeping it positive, right?
I like to validate feelings.
Yeah. I didn't know if that was like a good word for it or not.
Because like I don't want kids to think like, oh, you know, everything I do I get in trouble.
Right. I know.
Because like it is exciting to jump around. It is exciting to go down the slide. It is exciting to be loud and like do all these crazy things.
Right.
That's exciting. That's
Yeah.
like
the opposite of the calm app. Just
right,
kidding.
yeah.
I'm kidding.
Calm. Be calm when you're
Right,
dead.
Right.
What,
Oh my god, what is happening? Is it the cheese
I don't
tumors
know.
and the D
Well,
word?
what's your fixation on being calm?
The calm app.
The calm. You got an app to make you calm.
No, I'm kidding. Yes, because I get overly excited. No,
Okay,
maybe
well-
I'm Johnny. No.
Yeah, maybe. So
Okay.
I would like to be like, you know what? That is so fun.
Right.
I
yes.
think that's so fun. But you
It
know what?
is.
Everyone thinks it's fun.
Right.
So you know how fun you think it is? Everyone thinks that's
Right.
fun. So you know what? We need to be excited for other people when
Right.
they go down the slide.
Yes, and that's
Something like that.
And that's a good point that you're making is
Mhm.
because you can write that like my friends feel excited too, and that this is something that kids with autism need to be kind of like taught. It doesn't
Here we
mean they're
go.
unable
That
to
way.
do it. Right? They're not unable to have that empathy for their friends and how they're excited too, but
Mhm.
you're teaching them like I'm excited and so are they, and then it like starts to like click for
Resonate.
them and resonate like
Mhm.
oh yeah, like I'm excited and so are they, and like that's when you really start to tap into their social skills.
Right. So
Right.
they become more attuned with other people's feelings.
Yeah, and a social story is a segue or
Right.
vehicle to get them to start thinking in that way.
Right, to help them relate and communicate.
Yes, great. I like how that
I'm
rhymed.
getting it.
Yeah, good.
I'm starting to understand.
Got it. So you're
Mhm.
going to do something like that. And then you could say,
Right.
I think it's great to like set up like the what to expect, because a lot of times kids with autism have anxiety about not knowing what to expect. So if they have it predictably written for them in a book, they're like, oh, okay, first I have to climb up the steps. I think it helps. And then I have to wait my turn. Then you could have like a visual of waiting.
Mhm.
Right, and then you could say like, when I get frustrated, could like fast forward a couple of pages in the book. When I get frustrated, what should they do? So this is your part where like when they have this frustration and that want to push, you should model what they should do instead. I should count to 10. I should take a deep breath.
Mhm.
I should go on the swings and come back or something. Like give them
Right.
something to do. Oh, that's our time for today. But give them something to do. So replace that behavior with something else. So it's not enough to just be like, don't hit people. Don't do this. Well, all right, then what am I going to do then? Tell
Right.
me. What
Right.
should I be doing?
Cheer for everyone else who's going down.
There you go.
That's what so I
There
would
you
be
go.
like, slides are so exciting.
Right.
Like waiting in line is hard, but when you get down that slide, it's so much fun. Something like
Right.
that.
Yes.
And
great.
like maybe the sensations of the slide, and then
Mhm.
talking about how like being exciting for other people,
yeah.
and then it's like even more great when it's your turn.
And also, hey, Mike.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, nice to be
about-
here.
Kids who push kids down the slide and making a book for that. Do you feel like you had a problem with that when you were a kid?
I was bullied a little bit as a kid. Yeah, there's a kid that.
Who was it?
Huh?
Was his name Johnny?
No, but I would love to just hunt his ass down and just do something. Just
You know what? This
get
episode is
revenge. I mean, I really want to. Like, he probably has a family now, and I would love to just like beat him like in front of his family, in front of his kids, and then his kids will know not to be like their dirtbag father
Yeah.
and bully people.
Can
Because
you make a social
it
story?
always, it always catches up with you, and I will never forget,
What's his name?
and I will have my revenge. I don't want to his name.
Why not? He doesn't
Because I
listen.
don't want to incriminate anybody. I don't want to get sued.
Don't be a
just wanna-
coward. Who was it?
His name is Mike Sturm.
Get rid of him.
Yeah, he made fourth grade very hard for me. Yeah,
He probably still works at the movie
but I
theater.
just want his kids. Nah, I think he's doing pretty well. Because
Uh.
he's not on social media or anything, but I do. Yeah, I do want just to. Yeah, I want something bad to happen.
So that goes to show the lasting impact that people have on each other.
Right, and if you're kind, I think people remember it too. So just
Mhm.
be kind to everybody.
Yeah, because people won't
I always
remember
try
what
to-
you say and do. They'll only remember.
How you made them feel.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are like finishing each other's.
Yeah, you do have to spread
Yeah.
kind. And
We've
that's,
been around
you
each
got to
other.
spread kindness and positivity because there's not enough of it in the world.
Except for
Except for
like
that, except for that person who is gonna get his. I promise. I hope you're listening because I promise I will get you.
Imagine his wife's like a speech pathologist and she's listening right now.
I hope so. Because she's gonna have to give up where he is or
Yeah.
face consequences.
And she probably sees it in his actions throughout the day, like you were a bully.
She probably knows that her husband is a bully. And a
Yeah, he's
coward.
probably gaslighting her all the time.
Gaslighting her all the time. She would probably, like right before
What are you talking about? What are you gonna say? Just think about it.
Maybe we should make a social story for Mike.
right before I cut off one of his fingers with a knife.
Okay.
She's gonna be like, do it. She'll come out of the shadows in his garage, and then he'll look around. He'll realize he's in his own house, and that she helped me.
Right.
She helped me do it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah.
Wait, what was she? She was the
Accomplice.
accomplice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know
That's
what.
the best way of revenge. That to turn someone's family against them. That is beautiful.
I don't know where this episode has
It took
gone.
a turn.
It took a turn again, either for the.
I'm a comedian, so I think revenge is like inherently funny because you're not supposed to do it. Anyway, the reason I came in here was, where's that bag of mail?
The bag of mail for your brother.
Yeah.
It's on the floor in your office next to the closet.
So now that Mike got his mail, how about we sum up? Okay,
Okay.
This particular social story about Johnny who is pushing his peers down the slide during gym.
Mm-hmm.
So the first question is to ask why what is causing this communication breakdown or
What's the
this
motivation of the behavior?
Right. Yeah, you could do an ABC chart, antecedent behavior consequence. You could
Mhm.
even that's a whole like behavioral support, but like so this what I mean is when you have a negative behavior, it's not like, "Oh, give him a social story or give her a social story and everything will be fine." It's like, "All right, this is just one piece of the puzzle of how we're going to work on this negative behavior or this
Just
deficit."
like if somebody's showing like an oral fixation, not everyone needs a chewy tube. Like you need
Right.
to actually confront that behavior, right? Like what's causing it? Is it anxiety induced? Is it a sensory thing? Like what is actually. So don't think that there's anything that's going to pacify something. You need to get to the root of the issue.
Right, exactly. Right. Yes, that's great. Okay, so number 1, you want to validate the feelings, right? So, or you could use more explicit words like, yes, I'm excited, right? And you
Mhm.
use some really nice descriptive words like, oh, my stomach might flutter, or,
Mhm.
you know, my arms may tingle, I don't know, something. And maybe this is a time and opportunity that if the student is able to, how do you feel? You know, and like use
Right.
their own vocabulary words like, I'm excited, I'm jumpy. Like, oh, write that.
Also,
Yeah.
if this individual is struggling in terms of their sensory input all day long and they finally found a release, it's really difficult to ask of them to hold back
Right.
from satisfying something that's been unsatisfied for so long.
Exactly. So maybe they need to do something before they get to gym. So you're setting them up for success, right? So like
Right.
maybe they need to calm. No pun intended here. So really maybe they need to like walk around the hallway a little bit longer before they go to gym. Something. This
Again,
is just
that's
an
not
example.
a pun.
Right. I didn't say pun.
You did.
I said they need to calm
You
because
said no pun intended.
no, because I kept talking about the Calm app and I didn't want this to be
Yeah,
like
that means
another
like I'm not trying to throw this in your face, but again, you should be calmer. That's what
Right.
you meant.
I don't know
But
what's
a pun means like
a play on words.
Yeah.
I know. I didn't say I don't think I even said pun.
okay.
I don't know what's happening
I
there.
could be hearing things.
You-
I can't control my elbows. I don't know what I'm hearing.
Yeah, you need to be more grounded. How
That's
about that
right.
word? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then you want to set up the expectations. What do we expect when it's outside? Maybe you could even mention like what it looks like, and that's when you would provide pictures, like drawing them or take
Mhm.
pictures of what that actual slide looks like if they need that exact slide, you know, that picture of it. And then you could talk about that the friends are there, right? And we have to share this space. So you're
Mhm.
talking about what to expect when they're in that environment, how their friends are feeling, and what's going on around them. And then this is the big kicker, I like to say, is you have to model appropriate behavior. So they are pushing, so we don't want to sit there and just keep saying, like, don't push. And it's bad to push. And I shouldn't push because that's just too negative.
Oh, such a pet peeve of mine when people do that. I'm like, who taught you to work with anyone?
Right. I don't know. But
Stop
you can.
labeling all the negative behavior.
Right. I mean, you could bring it up like
right.
I might want to push. Like it's okay to bring up the behavior.
Right.
Like on our behavior episode with Allie when she
Mhm.
was saying like talk about it, you know, because if you don't, it's just gonna
I
come
might
up
feel
another
the
way.
impulse to push something
Right.
like that. But
And
like,
impulsivity is definitely
mhm.
something that we see in children or adults or individuals with autism spectrum disorder. And you had a point about impulsivity. If you wanted
Oh.
to tell me about it,
I
before
did.
yes.
What was that point?
So the point is that a lot of times they have that impulse to just
Oh,
go down the
yes. I
slide,
remember it.
and they're not really the forefront of their brain is not thinking, "Oh no, let me stop, let me have that impulse control, let me wait." Where they're just like,
right. They're not
ov-
being proactively empathetic. What they're doing is they're trying to satisfy their current sensory need, which is leading them to be impulsive.
right,
That doesn't mean in retrospect they don't feel bad and they don't feel empathetic. So what
Right.
we need to do is set them up for success so that they don't act on their impulses, so that they can act accordingly, so that they can enjoy their pleasurable activity without afterwards feeling bad for
Right.
doing it the wrong way.
I like that. Can we cheers to that? I
Cheers.
was like, woohoo, that was good.
That's like when I go out and I get too drunk and talk too
Mhm.
much. Like, I wish I
Right.
could just have a good time instead of
Well, I'm there, a lot of times when you're out. And I'm very good because I'm going to model appropriate behavior.
yeah.
So, like, getting back to this social story, perhaps you could work on waiting and speech. Perhaps you could talk about that
Right.
with your parent, with the parent. And then this is a whole approach, right? This is not, oh, we read this book in speech and then we put it on the speech folder and we never see it again until next time we come
Right.
back to speech. That's
But
not
my
effective.
point was so they can enjoy the whole situation from beginning to end without looking back on that situation,
right.
thinking,
Yeah, I got it.
I wish I didn't do this.
Right,
I wish I
didn't
didn't
do
hurt
that.
this person. I feel bad because of that. And they
Mhm.
weren't doing it to
Intentionally.
hurt somebody,
Right.
but they just got carried away.
Right. Yeah. No, I got that. That's
Yeah.
why I cheers to that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
got everything you were saying. But I was saying when you're modeling appropriate behavior to set them up for that success. So like maybe you have to glue a wait sign or a stop sign at the top of the slide.
Right, yeah.
You know, or maybe a
so
hands
everyone
down.
can remember.
Right, everyone can remember to just wait. And then you could maybe even do like almost like a small little visual schedule, like wait,
Mhm.
take it 5 deep breaths. Touch the sky instead. Maybe they could like raise their arms and
Oh,
touch
yeah.
clouds instead while they're waiting.
Make everybody have an activity within the line.
Right, put some music on maybe for gym if the gym teacher's okay with that.
Also, like, maybe you can do something to the steps of that slide, like beads along the stairs, something that
Mm.
everyone can touch and interact with, so that they're
Mhm.
fixated on that as opposed to the fact that they're
right. I not
waiting.
fixate, but like occupy or
Right.
keep them engaged and like keep them
Mhm.
almost like busy. I
Right,
hate to
yeah.
use that word. Like
I
busy,
put
but-
Velcro all over my table because of our psychology episode that hasn't been released yet, but you
Ooh.
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. It's a good one.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that is what I think or what we think about
Mhm.
social stories, and we did not get to the other behaviors and how we would work on
Can you
that.
tell me the social story, though? Like,
Right
from the
now?
beginning,
Okay.
middle, end?
Okay.
maybe?
All right. So I'm gonna give it in a crunch time.
Yeah, I'm
So-
not going to speak at all.
All
Just
right.
you tell the social story.
When I go to gym, I may feel excited. This is because there's a slide. Next page. Slides make me feel excited. Next page. My friends are also excited too. I could tell because they're smiling. Period. Next page. But I must remember that we have to share the slide in gym. Next page. My friends are using the slide too. Period. We have this in common. Maybe you could like throw that or something, period. So when
You're all waiting for the slide.
right, we are all waiting for the slide. Great. Next page. I have to remember to climb the steps with holding the railings. Maybe you want to model some safety. And then if it's not my turn or if I'm not up there first, I would think about how to really word this depending on the level. I must
Had I not
remember
been like,
right.
tell me right now.
Right, yeah, I got this. I got it, girl. Got it. So I have to remember to wait. Waiting, maybe like my hands are on my sides. Like what is waiting? What
And
is
maybe
that? My hands are
sometimes
down.
We could be like, waiting is tricky.
Yeah, waiting can be tricky. Right. It can be, right? It's not always. Maybe it's fun. Maybe I like to wait. I don't know. Right? So waiting can feel tricky. And then you could do like some positive statements, but I can do it.
Yeah, I can wait.
Yeah, I can wait. And then a whole cute little page of I can wait and then like
Yeah.
happy face while you're sitting there and waiting. Like when I am waiting, right, I could take a deep breath. Next page. Or I can count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next page. I could even reach for the clouds in the sky and then like cute picture of the kid reaching for the cloud.
Oh,
like
I can draw that. That'd be good. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like
I
wow.
can draw thought bubbles of what he's occupying himself with while he's waiting in the line.
Yeah. Oh, clouds are fluffy.
Yeah.
Look at that word. Nice
Something like
vocabulary
that,
word
yeah.
there. And then once there's nobody at the top, then it's my turn. So then you
Mhm.
could have a picture of like an empty slide and someone like sitting. then I can say go, and then they
Yeah.
could go down the slide, and then you could
Now it's my turn. I'm gonna go.
right,
Something like
yeah.
that.
And then they're at the done. They're done. And you're like, I'm gonna do this again. This was a lot of fun because I was safe, and so were my friends. I feel happy when I am safe. My teachers feel happy too, and my
Right.
parents. I don't know. And
I
then,
love that
yeah,
because
thank you.
I want to make sure that when I'm trying to teach a child to interact in a social situation that they're able to enjoy it holistically and not look back and feel bad.
right.
So
Yeah.
and I don't think, because we've had so many conversations about this on the podcast and off the podcast, about how like there's a few misconceptions in terms of individuals on the spectrum and their
Yeah.
ability to
Feel
empathize.
or feel
Yeah.
empathy, and it's not. I think that like stems back to like theory of mind, like they don't understand how other people are feeling. Like that's like a definition. I feel like I had to memorize in grad school, and that's not necessarily quote unquote is what it means. It just means like they might have that hard time like shifting the focus.
Within the
And-
moment.
Right. But it doesn't mean they can't be taught to think about, oh, wait, how are
Right.
these making me feel? How is this unsafe? Oh, right. Yeah, it is.
And as an adult, I think it's empowering because when you do focus on waiting, it's like a sense of control. Like when you
Right.
don't continuously act and you do choose to wait, you then establish more control over the situation so that you can be calmer during that social interaction.
Can we
so,
cheers to that?
okay.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah,
This is
so that's a
tasty
great
wine.
way to
Mm-hmm.
empower that individual by teaching them a very vital tool of waiting.
Yes, and that is a big lesson. And that's not going to the student might not master that in a year. Like that might be one of those lifelong goals, and that might be a way we're all working on waiting and how we
But maybe if you're only working
Yeah.
on waiting, if you're truly
Right.
only working on waiting, and then if you ask yourself, have I worked on waiting
Yeah.
every session, you
Oh.
might think, I maybe didn't work on waiting every session.
right, yeah,
You know,
no, I mean,
SLP
yeah.
confession.
Right.
Sometimes when you look back, you're like, maybe I didn't always
Right.
focus on antonyms. Maybe I was thinking about other things, you know?
Right.
But
Well,
if you
yeah.
did always work on waiting, it would certainly be less than a year for anybody of any level of ability.
Right.
If that was the
It's-
only
right,
thing.
It's the only thing.
Only thing.
I'm not, yeah, you'll definitely make progress, but it's also generalizing it, right? Like different waiting in speech and
But if
different
it was
waiting
the
in the
only-
supermarket or something. It might take longer than
right,
a
in
couple
terms
weeks.
of a hierarchy
Yeah.
of
Yeah, so I'm just saying that's a goal like we're all gonna probably have maybe. Maybe I need to
Right.
work on waiting too. Just because you have autism doesn't mean nobody else can work on waiting also.
right.
Like waiting is just it's like a long term goal.
Yeah.
For maybe everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. I gotta work on it too.
Okay, yeah.
So
Because we're not all self-actualized human beings. We
Right.
have not got it all figured
no,
out.
we do not. Which I feel like this podcast episode is a
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes things take a turn.
yeah. So let's go into tips and tricks. I'm gonna go first because I'm very excited to share my tip or trick.
Okay.
So the tip or trick was not thought of or invented by me. I got it once again from the Calm app, where for a minute count yourself taking really deep breaths. So like inhale, and even when you think you can't inhale anymore, exhale. So one full inhale, one full exhale. Count that as one, and then count how many full breaths you can do in 1 minute. And let's say it's like I'm making a number now, 12. Then that's like your target number. So like when you're at work and things are getting crazy, stop and take those 12 deep breaths again. And you'll know that it's like, oh, I just stopped for 1 minute and I took those 12 deep breaths and I took a second to calm myself.
Mm-hmm.
Pen drop. Your turn. I'm going to wait.
Okay, good. So my tip is to validate the feelings of the children in front of you. So don't label everything that they're doing as wrong. Don't say, don't pick up the pencil, don't get up, sit down, do this, do that. Instead, I like to be like, you know what? There is a big yoga ball in my room, and that looks so fun. And you know what? I want to play with that yoga ball too. So what we should do is hurry up and finish this work so we all can play with that yoga ball. And kids love to do things that you want to do too. So the only thing more exciting than that yoga ball in my room is the fact that I want to play with that yoga ball with them. I'm not going to leave them to their own devices to just play with the yoga ball haphazardly in my room while I write my note. No. I am going to engage in that game, which to them is the ultimate, most exciting thing to play with me.
Well, maybe because you're awesome, or just
I
'cause
know
you're an
it's
adult?
them, it's everybody, it's all of you. They
Mhm.
want to play with you. They want to have fun with you without getting yelled at. So validate those feelings and interact with them. So instead of being like, the yoga ball is there and no one told you to sit on it, it's not your turn or whatever, don't label what they've done wrong. Instead be like, yes, there is a yoga ball, and you know
you
what?
are not in your seat.
Yeah,
Yeah, it takes a lot of patience. to be
don't
like
say that.
No, I'm
Don't say
kidding.
that. I
That was
don't.
a
I don't.
joke.
I know. I don't like that. I would like. I just instead I'm like, yes, that is so cool that there's a yoga ball here, and I also would like to run and grab that instead of sitting down. That does make sense. That is valid. There is
Yeah,
nothing
that's true.
invalid about that. Like, we're not raising robots. So that makes sense that they see a giant ball in my room that's not ordinarily there, but I did just get it because I got so many crazy kids just jumping off the walls. I got to have some kids jumping on yoga balls before we do speech.
Oh, we could talk
But-
about some OT.
But now
activities.
everybody wants to see the yoga ball. So I just want to make sure that they can feel like I understand why they would want to play with that yoga ball. But right now, we have to do this. And then as soon as we finish this, we will all play with that. Not even only you by yourself, but all of us together. And then they're like, oh my God, I can't. What? You want me to write the
Right.
sentence? I'm going to write the sentence. Like, I'll do whatever you want because that's what they want to do.
Right. And
Yeah.
you could supplement that with some visuals, like a timer. When this timer goes on 5, we're going to play, right? But you need to have all your points first, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like, okay, it's not like just do some sloppy work and then you get the ball. Excuse
Right,
us.
yeah, no,
right?
no, we need to make sure that it's nice because
Right.
it has to fit the criteria.
Right.
So, you know, you also, our tips and tricks segment's a little bit not that detailed, but we do want to set criteria for the work that it has to be
Yeah.
complete
right.
and nice.
to their level, right?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
great. I love that. That was excellent. And now our quote is very appropriate for the episode, which is go with the flow.
Absolutely.
So a lot of times we have plans, which it may
Mhm.
not sound like it, but we do have plans. Luckily, there's a video on our story of you flipping through a textbook.
That I didn't even
you
look
know?
at to talk about. I
Right.
had so many things in the textbook I wanted to bring up, but
I kind of
we
wish you didn't say that because then I could have just been like, we're so informative. But you know what? We didn't. We're honest.
Well, we had other things brought up.
So we do have the best intentions and plans, but sometimes the conversations just go another way. And I
Mhm.
think they're honest conversations, so we just let them flow.
Yeah,
So
just go with the flow.
go with the flow. Sometimes your session, you might have to go with the flow too,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or your life.
That's right. So, on that note, we also want to bring up that we have a special event planned. It's going to be May
Yay.
31st at 8 p.m. Doors open.
2019. May
Right.
31st, 2019.
Is our 1-year anniversary show. It's going to be a live podcast recording at a comedy club in Long Island City, the Creek in the Cave. And it's going to be doors open at 7:30. Show starts at 8. We're going to have 4 comedians and a live musical guest. The show will be hosted by Maria and myself. It'll be a live podcast
Yay.
recording. So we won't record the comedian sets, but after their sets, we will sit down and chat with them briefly before the next comedian comes on. So the only people who will hear the comedians are the ones who come to the live event. But it's going to be a great show. We're going to have wine, cheese, live music, stand-up comedy, and we really hope to see you there. So please come hang out with us at the Creek in the Cave on May 31st at 7:30 p.m.
Wow, I have nothing else to say, but yeah, I'm excited.
Maria's going to be a host.
I'm gonna be a host. I'm
We're
gonna be up
hosting.
that stage, hosting and toasting.
Hosting with the mostest.
Right, and toasting with the wine. All right. On that note, thank you for listening in, and really tell us your thoughts about this episode. Really, please.
Let us know.
Yes, let us know. Thank you. Good night.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Hey ladies, I'm kind of sort of loving and openly admittingly fangirling y'all lovely duo of SLP's Wine and Cheese.
Yes, and we love listening to your podcast, First Bite.
Well, thank you. I'm Michelle Dawson, and I specialize in functional but fun treatment for medically fragile kiddos, especially for those that have feeding and swallowing impairments and who use AAC devices as part of their total communication plan. On my podcast, First Bite, we discuss all topics related to early intervention and pediatric speech therapy. We address those worrisome ethics and clinical supervision concerns, as well as jump into private practice ownership and really get into the nooks and crannies of all the things in between by interviewing guest experts in the field. Then, every fourth episode, we bring it back home to my Palmetto State by having evidence-based reviews of case studies or resources with my dear friend and colleague, Aaron Forward, who kind of sort of came up with this whole idea.
First Bite is partnered with Speech Therapy PD, offering evidence-based content in a podcast. Each episode can count as 1 hour ASHA CEU. Find them on iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere else you listen to podcasts.
Absolutely. And thanks for all you do and for spreading joy into the world.
Cheers.